Well, hello everybody. Louise Edington, the Cosmic Owl of Cosmic Owl Astrology, and I am here today to talk to you about the Gemini full moon that is coming up on December the 15th, which is the funnest full moon of the year in the holiday season. And this one is even more fun than usual. But in the big theme of the whole month of December as well, this is going to be like reveal some really major truths and hopefully bring some people to justice. Now I'll be recording with Kathy and Andy again. We're going to do two in the coming week. I'm recording this just before the new moon that's on December the 1st. But, there's so much to talk about. I will say one thing though, and then leave that side of things for this video because we'll just talk about it in general, is that this full moon is just 2 days before the state electors are due to certify the elections in their states. So there's a lot of change coming before then. All right, so we are first of all going to look at the card. I pulled a card for this just the general vibe of this full moon. And I actually got the Venus in Virgo card, which is the gain card. Now, Angeles Arian talks, so it's, Venus in Virgo, 9 of discs or pentacles. Angeles Arian in her book says this, the 9 of discs is hitting the mark, hitting the bullseye. This symbol represents physical profit, benefit, and gain to in all areas of life: mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, and financial. The astrological aspect is Venus in Virgo, and Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and creative power, and Virgo is the astrological sign associated with balance, order, and organization, and detail, and filing, and all those things. So the 9 of discs reminds us that if we follow what has heart and meaning for us, which is the meaning of Venus, and that if we organize and systematize things, which is Virgo, the results are gain, tangible gain, giving the feeling of having hit the mark or the bullseye. So that's the card. And really, I feel that card's coming from the new moon up to the full moon. And that's kind of, so I'm glad I'm recording it today. So the intentions that we are setting now will start to come to fruition through action, Virgo, and organizing on the full moon. So let me pull one more card for the full moon. Oh, I got the Gemini card, the lovers. Okay, so things are going to come together. This is not just about lovers. This is the opposite of, the bringing together of all opposites. And so let me just get, so this is the principle of art and craft or relationship. And I'm just going to read you a quote that Angeles Arian quotes for this card. The value of the personal relationship to all things is that it creates intimacy, and intimacy creates understanding, and understanding creates love. And that's Anais Nin. And so this is bringing some closeness in personal relationships, but also within yourself, and also within opposing views and ideas and things. So nice cards for what I'm very excited about this month, but then it is my birthday month. So I'm just going to have a look at the chart and then I'll talk about it. So the Gemini full moon is on December the 15th at 4:01 a.m. Eastern time. You can adjust for your time zones, but it's kind of happening all day. On that same day, Mercury stations direct. So it's a full moon, so it's opposing the sun. It's at 23 degrees, 52 minutes. I have things to say about that. It's also in a flowing air trine to asteroid Vesta in Libra, and I've got thoughts on that. It's also in a sextile aspect to Eris and Hygeia, who are working together to kind of, well, I'll talk about what that means in a minute. So other aspects really to it, I'm going to say, are a wide square to Neptune, which is stationing direct at the end of the week I'm recording this in. So Neptune is still pretty much at a standstill, has moved 1 minute. So this square to Neptune is a shifting energy as well. And this is a mutable sign, of course, Sagittarius. So we'll look at that as well. But I do want to point out that Mercury is the guide for the Gemini full moon and will be in a flowing fiery trine aspect to Mars, which is retrograde now in Leo. So we'll talk about all of that as well. So things are shifting, things are changing. And of course, it is a full moon. And a full moon is really like both the lights shining their bright light on things. And because of where we're at in the cycle and coming from the 9 degrees Sagittarius new moon and a lot of and Mercury being retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius, Jupiter being retrograde in the sign of Gemini, we're at this point where all this information's coming out and being found out, and some of it being revisited and things coming to light. This full moon is going to shine a big old light on the information and the truths that are coming to light. Of course, it's going to happen as we approach the full moon, but I think this full moon is a real big peak of finding kind of seeing the truth of the information that's been coming to light. Okay. As well, Gemini is also about, numbers, detail, counting. Maybe there'll be recounts in the election, but we'll talk about that on other videos. Now then, I mentioned that the full moon is in this lovely aspects, supportive wedge aspects to a Vesta Hygeia opposition. So Vesta is in the sign of Libra, which is the sign of justice, balance, harmony. And Vesta is your inner flame, but it's about that inner truth, but finding that inner balance, but also kind of about really coming into that center of the fulcrum point of Libra from all this information that's been coming at you and truths that you've been learning. As well, opposing Hygeia. Vesta is almost exactly opposing Hygeia. That's holistic health, and she is a preventative health seer. And you can see that collectively about what action do we need to take to prevent this abomination that's been happening coming to light again. All right. And Eris is there fighting for the outsiders, conjunct Hygeia. So this really does speak to me as a real shift in a lot of people's perspectives, that they were going to go and fight for justice and truth and freedom and what it really means. Okay. So, this is, it's quite an exciting full moon, to be quite honest. And now I want to mention the number 23. So let me read you a couple of things. So from the numbers and their meanings.blogspot.com, 23 says 23s are highly inquisitive, is a highly inquisitive number who needs hands-on experience to be the best teacher in life. So we're learning by experience. This is deeply intelligent number, philosophical, spiritually minded. Okay, so 23 really is a very pretty powerful number. Now, I also want to read you some about 23 from a site called ridingthebeast.com. And they say that 23 is the principle of organization. 3, acting on the differentiation of the world in spirit and matter. 20, to allow precisely the incarnation of the spirit in the matter. 2 plus 3 is 5. There's the Roman Catholic Church counts on the whole 23 dogmas. 12 are included in the symbol of the apostles, 11 have been defined by the church, and the last is that of the Assumption, the Virgin Mary in her appearance in Amsterdam of the Netherlands. And 23, incidentally, is also the number of chaos magic. It's the number, it's very human number. We have 23 digits, 23 days in our biorhythm cycle, 23 seconds for blood to go around the body. It's the most human of numbers. 23 pairs of DNA, by the way, as well. And as I mentioned, it's the number of chaos magic as well. So this really is kind of like, it's also a very Venus number. 2 plus 3 is 5, the 5 pentagram. Okay, so it's a number of change as well, because it's 5 is a number of change, and the media, Mercury stationing direct on this day. But this really is, oh, by the way, number of articulations in the human arm is 23 as well, apparently. So there's all these kinds of things going on. This is a number of change, and I'm going to say it's about that divine feminine energy coming up to equal with that divine masculine. That also is spoken to me in the Lovers card, and also the aspects in the astrology. And so, there's a lot of kind of rising up and coming together and things coming to light, and also fighting for truth and fighting for freedom, real freedom together, and fighting for justice. There's all these things in this as well. It's rather magical. I will say as well, the moon is in a semi-sextile to aspect, which is just 30 degrees to Uranus in Venus sign Taurus. Venus has moved into Aquarius and is thinking of the future and hopes and wishes for the future. There's a lot of shake-up energy in this full moon, and I think there's going to be some radical shifts and changes. Now, of course, that means that Uranus is in a quincunx aspect, which is an aspect of adjustment to the Sagittarius sun at 23 degrees on the full moon, which is saying we need to make some major adjustments according to our values and getting back to our roots and rootedness in those values. Then we have the Mercury station direct on the same day of the retrograde, bringing all the things we've been really investigating and revisiting and rethinking and redefining through the Mercury retrograde period. And Mercury goes direct in that aspect, that fire trine to Mars in Leo, which is just stationed retrograde as well. And these two are speaking to each other. So this is saying now we can start to take what the adjustments in what we found out and our beliefs and where we want to shoot our arrows as Mercury moves forward, and take them to our actions from the heart, with Mars diving in deep into that sign of Leo. This could also mean a change of direction in leadership in the King Leo. So, just saying. The fact that it's 2 days before the election, Mars and Venus are opposing each other. Everything's kind of coming together, bringing some more balance, bringing some more harmony, bringing some more truths to light, and adjusting our viewpoints based on all of this that's coming to light, so that we can bring justice. Now, of course, it's a process. I'm not going to say it's going to happen overnight, but there's definitely things happening. And if you've got planets aspected about this, it's really about living your higher truth based on the information that you are going to discover and take in, and over the next period from the new moon to the full moon particularly. I think a lot of people's perspectives are going to shift and change, and this full moon is kind of going, it's time to kind of take action on what we've learned and what's shifted and what's changed. Okay. So it's quite powerful. All right. And it's, you know, in the 12th month of an 8 year. So it's 1 + 2. So we're always in a 12 month, of course. So that's the divine feminine and masculine together. And it's a 6th day, which is a lovely creative feminine number as well. So, you know, I'm very excited about this whole month. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be it's going to be a lot of perspective shifts. There's going to be so much information flying. It's hard to keep up. There is an element of it because of that square to Neptune about not forgetting to tune in to what it feels like inside, your inner knowing, download energy, if you call it, about trusting your connection with bringing source down to earth and acting on it from that perspective. Okay, so amazingly powerful full moon. Things are gonna look very different by the end of the month. And you know, I saw Rosie Insights on her latest video talking about the period we've talked about the 5th, 6th, 7th. That's gonna launch the change, and it's kind of gonna be clear by the 15th, I think, what's changing from these powerful energies on those hot days. Everything's a process, right? It's not all just like this happens on, I mean, things do happen on a day, but then we have to kind of work on what's come to light, and change comes from that. Okay, so yeah, I think Rosie and Karina both saw about 1.5 to 2 weeks from now, which is everything coming to light, which is by this full moon. So there you go. So that's just kind of going back to all the stuff in the news. But for you personally, this will be about opening your mind, shifting perspectives, revealing your inner truths, what you know to be true, and trusting that, and then visioning your future. This is really about mind magic. So, okay, so I'm going to read the Sabian symbol first for the full moon. But before I do, a reminder to please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you check the little bell to get a reminder when I upload new content. You'll get a little notification on YouTube that I've uploaded new content when you want to watch it, and you can then it's there. And also, leave me comments. I'm loving all the interaction we're getting on this channel now. It's fantastic. And again, welcome to all those new subscribers. And thank you, Rosie Insights, particularly for sending so many my way, and all the other sites that did. But so Gemini 24, the Sabian symbol, is children skating on ice. Dr. Mark Edmund Jones, said that this is a symbol of the persisting imminence of adventure in experience, and of the constant danger to self in failing to sustain or order the complex of things as they are. Implicit in the symbolism is the value of an established reality as a foundation for further refinement of personal capacity and skill. The satisfaction of a successful self-expression always must remain a dynamic impetus to further achievement, and so never become a static aplomb or a surrender to self as it stands. That's very archaic language. But he says the key word is fun. Have fun with it. Have fun and experience and feel what everything feels like. That's going to be, that's what it says to me. So this is about soul-satisfying experiment. Okay, so we're going to do a lot of experimentation and in the self-discovery this month as well. Now I'm going to go and read Dane Rudyard's interpretation as well. So he said it's children skating over a frozen village pond, but and the energy of children is very Gemini, but basically. So, but he says the use of inhibiting circumstances for the development of character and a transcendent approach to the environment. He said winter symbolizes darkness and the restrictions imposed upon living things by cold. Natural life is in a state of hibernation or inward turned activity, yet the developing mind can learn to use restrictions and the disciplining power of cold external responses to rise above the outer freeze and to grow in strength and skill. Human is nature rising above the cyclic oscillation of natural polarities. Their way is often the via negative. We learn rhythmic freedom by using the most binding situations to demonstrate the transcendent capacity for pleasure and self-mobilization. He said it's mental technique in as much as it is through mind that man can transcend the entropy of the universal process of existence. Wow. All right, on to the Chandra symbols. So the Omega symbol is a human who heals water, be it in lakes, rivers, the ocean, or a glass. I'm thinking of that. Messages in water things. So, but anyway, this is about unconditional love and refuge. And John Sandbach says, this symbol has a wonderful way of always coming back to the basics and attuning to them so that clarity is the result. You are aware of the vast number of energies that all forms of communicating carry and are able to extract the impure and confusing from the mix so that meaning can gain in strength. You have a unique way of mirroring complexity in simplicity and simplicity in complexity. The Chandra symbol is a nude person with a tail. The tail assists in balance. It also flows out of the body like a river and so carries the vibration of water, which is of the astral plane, the realm of emotions. This person has the ability to improve, uplift, revivify, and re-energize the feelings of environments as well as people. This happens in a very immediate, unself-conscious way. The effect is beautiful, refreshing, and restorative. The approach of this degree is simple, but often proliferates into a marvelous complexity, just as water is clear and simple, and yet enters into, catalyzes, and transmutes so many processes. So, wow. In fact, I think I'm going to read Elias Lonsdale's interpretation as well. And I've realized I keep spelling Elias with one L and it's Duke, but so my bad, sorry. So he says about that Chandra symbol, instincts fill the screen of awareness with instantaneous reverberations. You are ready to pick up on whatever comes through magnificently. The skill, the virtuosity is dazzling. Nothing is impossible. There is a space open for worlds to connect, flooded with impressions, ecstatic with what you can do, spilling over into infinity, showing what we all can do and insisting that it is simple. The greatest of gifts, freely manifesting, no strings attached. The future opens and the light streams through. The body knows, direct sensing, multi-dimensional, and straight on. amazing. Trust that you will know what's true that's coming out over the next while, and that when this full moon shines this big old light in things, true for yourself, inner truths, truths about what you believe, all of those things. But have fun with it too. Be playful, juggle like the magus. All right, much love and see you next time. And don't forget to subscribe.